Hello yogis. Today we're going to see the second part for the most common positions in yoga. So in the last video we have seen together some very common poses, common asana. For example, Sukhasana, then we have seen downward facing dog, plank and hero's pose. Today we're going to see together another part of poses which is very, very important if we want to practice, for example, vinyasa. So let's basically come into our all fours. So we are sure that our wrists align on our shoulders, then we untuck the toes and we just step up into plank pose. So we are sure that we are not so high or not so down in our pose. We are balanced. We squeeze the glutes, we squeeze the abdomen, and we just try to suck the navel towards the spine. So we are in plank. So once we are in plank, most of the time we have to face the mat. So, and then this movement of going down through the mat, it is called Chaturanga Dandasana. So let's first practice the first variation, which is basically the easiest. So we just lay down with our knees on the mat, top of the feet on the ground, and then with our shoulders and really squeezing our abdomen, we try to bend the elbows, always keeping them close to the chest, and we are going down. If you are here and then you are not able to get down farther, step back. Then there is another easy variation. Then from plank, I just lay down my knees, chest and chin. And this is another variation, keeping our elbows always close to our chest, with shoulders basically looking down. So why Chaturanga Dandasana is very important? It's very important because a very strong position which strengthens our biceps, our triceps, and really lengthen the spine. It sometimes might be really, really hard, but it's super useful for all our muscles. So Dandasana, as the name says, means basically stick. So our purpose of this pose is to lay down with the glutes, the spine, the neck, and the head completely aligned as a stick. So from plank, again, my lovely plank, the next movement, in order to go to Chaturanga, is going to shift a little bit the feet towards. I shift the feet. So again, I keep sure that the wrists are aligned with the shoulders, and then slowly bend the elbows close to the chest, shoulders, blades getting down, and then stay here, and then I lay down on the mat. After Chaturanga, the next pose, which is almost automatically to make, is actually Cobra. So Cobra or Bujhangasana. When I'm staying here, basically my elbows are bended, close to the chest. My shoulder blades are squeezing down. My legs are activated. My glutes are activated as well. So the next movement is to move up the chest forward a little bit, keeping every part of the body squeezed, activated. So we don't want to press the neck towards the shoulders, but we want to get free this area. So always shoulder blades down. Again, our movement can be very short in low cobra. This is enough. Or we can increase the bend of the chest. Be careful always to your hands. Your hands should be placed basically right under the shoulders or very close to the chest. So once again, inhale. We just come up a little bit more. Exhale, coming down. Remember to squeeze the rest of your body. And if we want, we can practice this pose, which is called upward facing dog, with all our arms completely straight. So I keep this movement and I just go here. If I realize that my hands are not aligned with my shoulders, I can back down on a mat and put my hands a little bit more towards my chest and try again. Please keep squeezing all the muscles of your body, including the top of your feet. Coming down, the most important thing when you do Cobra, it is actually to check in your lower back. So if you're feeling compression in this part, in this area, just back off to a more comfortable position. So do not exaggerate just because you want the maximum expression of Cobra. Always squeezing also the abdomen, but try to start slowly, especially if you are a beginner, with just low Cobra pose. This is still enough. You don't have to look upward always, but try to keep your gaze in as natural as possible. So, now that we have seen these two positions, Chaturanga Dandasana and Bujhangasana and upward facing dog, we are ready to take to the next part, which is Tadasana and tree pose. So Tadasana as well as Sukhasana is very common when we want to start a yoga session, whatever it is. And the most important thing for Tadasana, it is actually to activate what it is called Pada Bandha. The bandhas are some kind of seals which are in our body. They are 3, but Pada Bandha is considered as a 4th. And then we activate Pada Bandha, basically facing our attention and bringing all our attention on our feet. So we are on the mat. We start with spreading all our toes. Start to really feel grounded on our mat. Start to focus on all the 4 touching points of our feet on the mat. We can just move up with our toes and then down. Start really to engage our feet on the ground. Once I find this connection between my feet and my mat, I start to focus the attention on my legs. So basically, I start to engage the quads, engage the kneecaps, and then I tuck my tailbone. I don't want this arch, which is a natural arch of the spine, but then I want to form a very long line from my feet to the crown of my head. So I tuck my tailbone, and the navel is squeezed towards the spine. So we suck the navel in. Once I just take care about my legs and my belly, then let's take care about my upper part. So also the shoulders here, we don't want to look like we are falling down, but also the shoulders must be aligned, keeping the distance between the shoulders and our ears. Start to relax the neck, the face, the collarbones, and the jaw. So standing in Tadasana might look easy, but it takes a lot of effort, trust me. Also, our hands and our arms can be placed close to our body, or they must be really, really strengthened. So we also activate the triceps. And your hands, just with straightened fingers. So we start to look inside ourselves, and we find the same strength, the same stability, the same immobility of a mountain. We start breathing, inhale from the nose, exhale from the nose. More we take confidence with this position, more we feel rooted to the ground, exercising our Parabandha, more we feel our legs engaged, we feel how our abdomen are working, we feel all our body is really active. Exhale. You can close your eyes, or you can start also to place your arms up on the sky. And of course, if your legs are tight, and of course the position is more engaged if you join your feet together. So your feet can be basically hips distance apart. So again, we found our alignment. We can bring our arms up to the sky, strengthening our arms. Try not to be so much tight between the neck and the shoulders. Let's try always to keep the shoulders relaxed, giving space around collarbones and the neck area. And try to practice Tadasana as much as you can. So Tadasana is a very important position in order to be prepared for tree pose, Vrkasana. So again, for tree pose, we have to experience again Padabandha, because tree pose is a balancing asana. It's a balancing pose. So all our weight will be concentrated in our right and left leg. So it is really important to feel rooted, to feel grounded, and experience the connection of all the 4 touching points of our feet on the ground. Let's start also to check in our right leg. So we are working first with our left leg as the base of our balance, and then we start to bend our knees, to grab our knees with your hands, and first here please check in your balance. So already in this position you can realize if you feel stable or not. The stability depends a lot by the activation of your feet. So try to stay here, eyes open to secure your balance, and try to repeat this movement slowly, breathing. And once you have tried this movement, try also this lateral movement from the center to the right, and see how is your balance. Slowly and gently. Based on the opening of your hips, you can also understand what is the level of your stability and also of your hips opening. So it will help you to decide where you put your foot. So once we are kind of ready, there are 3 variations for tree pose. The first one is to keep our big toes on the ground, facing our heels on our ankle, on our left ankle. The second one is to place our feet on our calf. And the third one is to place our feet next to our inner thighs. Also, when you practice this pose, it is really important to keep the Tadasana alignment. So we basically tuck the tailbone in, suck the navel in. And another common mistake of tree pose is basically to really push the feet towards the inner thigh to secure. So most of the time, this tree pose has some kind of is curvy from this left side. So we don't want this kind of movement pushing the feet towards the inner thighs. But gently, we push again into the correct alignment, tucking the tailbone, sucking the navel. And once we try our stability, we really focus on the 4 touching points of our left foot. Once we are stable, we can bring our palms in front of our chest, or once we feel more balanced and we find our drishti, which is the focusing point that keep us in balance, we can open our arms to the sky, trying to think and try to reproduce in our mind the image of the tree with all its green leaves. Imagining that our feet are actually the roots of the tree to the ground. Hands to the chest, and slowly release the position. We are going to do the same with the other leg. So 4 touching point of the right foot on the mat, bend my left knee and start to reproduce this movement up and down, up and down. The most common thing, and you're going to immediately realize it, is to experience a kind of difference between your left and your right side. So even if you are right hand rider, maybe some days your left part is going to be more stable, and and vice versa, basically. So experience different sensations based on which side of your body you're activating. It's totally fine, and it's normal. So push again the knees, rotating externally the hips, checking our hips opening. Once you're ready, you can place your big toe on the ground, heels on our ankles, foot on the calves, or foot close to our inner thighs, trying to keep this alignment, guys, okay? Hands to the heart. I keep my navel in, tucking my tailbone, hands to the chest, and once we find our drishti, hands to the heart. Breathe here. Hands to the chest. So sometimes I have seen also yogis practicing Vrkasana with the feet on top of the knees. So I personally discourage to try this alignment just because it is really putting so much pressure on our knees, and it is definitely not beneficial for your body.